Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out with super middleweight prospect, unbeaten, Umar Sadiq. How you doing, Umar?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for coming down.
No problem. I see you're dressed for the extended summer we've been enjoying here in the UK. Lovely sunny day in East London today. Just wanted to start off asking you a bit about your background. It's something I've only read about. We haven't talked about this before. I believe you came over to this country from Nigeria originally. Is that correct? And just tell us a bit about how that came about.
So I was born in Nigeria, raised for the most part of my childhood in Nigeria, so up until the age of 12. I was living with my dad from the age of 4, and he passed away when I was 10. So yeah, that's right. After that, my mum moved over here with my younger brother. I lived with my aunt for a year, went to a boarding school in Nigeria for a year, which is basically a military camp. Then I came over here and started making my own way in the society. Then started to get into a lot of trouble, but at the same sort of time, I started boxing for fitness, not because I wanted to be a fighter. So it's not your cliche, you know, boxing saved me kind of thing. I've always been into health. My dad passed away under uncertain circumstances, so some people say it was a stroke, some say it was a heart attack, and you know, till today I don't really know, but from a young age, one of the things that struck me hard was live healthy and you'll probably live longer and healthier. So anyway, I did boxing for 3.5 years just for fitness, but fell in love with the sport, and through sparring people who were actually fighting and doing really good against them and getting the better of most of them, actually, I decided I might as well box and, you know, see what I can do in boxing. So I'm a late starter. I had my first fight at the age of 20. I'm now 30 years old, 3 fights in under Frank Warren Promotions.
So I believe you first started doing some boxing when you were 16, but didn't have your first fight till you were 20. There was a period where you kind of drifted away from the sport and then came back to it. Just tell us a little bit about that and what brought you back.
So for the first period, 16 to 20, where I was a keep fitter, well, more than a keep fitter, I trained like a fighter. But when I actually decided to box was because I'd taken 6 months out due to things that happened outside of boxing with the lifestyle that I was living at the time. And I remember one time I promised myself I was going to go back into the boxing gym by the weekend, so it was going to be on a Saturday. And on the Friday night I'd gone out with some of my friends. There's 2 birthdays at the same time, so you already know what that was like. So yeah, it got really messy. I was so drunk I couldn't even get home. So I had to crash at someone's house at like 5 AM. Then I woke up about 7, 8 AM, but only because I had to stay true to my word. It's something I've always believed in. And the fact that I promised myself I'll do it meant I had to do it. So I woke up hungover, quickly drove home, got my stuff. Now I know that probably means I was drink driving, but at the time I didn't know. I thought if it's the next day,
please don't arrest him.
Please don't arrest me. But at the time I used to think like this when I was 19. I used to think if it's the next day you're fine, but obviously I wasn't. Anyway, got to the boxing gym. I'm a boxing coach at the time, Tony Sese, who happens to be down there actually.
I actually, full disclosure, I actually grew up on the same estate as Tony Cisse. He was friends with my brother.
That's my G, man. We've got to say hello to him after.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he forced me to spar someone, even though I was like, look, I'm drunk, I'm hungover. He's like, get in. And I did really well against this guy. Then 2 weeks later, I found out that the guy had won the
novices.
No, yeah, the novices. And I was just like, fucking, what am I doing in my life? So I was like, I don't want to be 30 telling stories about what I could have been. Rather, I'd like to find out what I can be. So I made a transition then, had my first fight at 20, lost my first fight due to inactivity actually. Both fighters were just staring at each other. There was probably like 7 punches between us per round. So I came back, really aggressive was my style after that. Sticking a lot of people, went into the ABAs after 9 fights. My amateur boxing club, Repton, didn't want me to go in it, but I begged them for 2 weeks and they let me do it. I made them eat their words because I was beating European medalists and people with 80+ fights and things of that nature. Consequently, I didn't win that ABAs even though I got to London finals. I think the decision was fair. You could have seen it either way.
That was against Josh Barazzi, right?
No.
Was that the next year?
Yeah. So I had 2 fights on the same day. In those days you could, and my first fight was against a guy called Isvan Zux, who was a European medalist, and I won it. This is about 2 PM, so I saw my next fight would be 7 PM. So I'd gone out to get something to eat. I had a hot jacket potato, beans, the works. Got back to have a nap in the car, and the head coach at the time, Tony Burns, rang me and he goes, "Where the fuck are you?" I'm going, calm down, Tony, I'm only outside. He goes, "Get in there." I goes, no, I'm just gonna have a nap. He goes, you're in next. So so this is like less than 2 hours after my previous bout. I've got a full stomach, and I've got no time to warm up because I've got to run into the change room, get changed, and jump in the ring. So I was in no form to fight that. 2 hours later, I think it would have been a different story. So I got in there and literally just had a scrap with him because I didn't have the sharpness to box with him. And again, like I said, you could have seen it either way. So I took it on the head. It is what it is. But then, following years after that, I had some controversial decisions again in London finals where fights that I thought I'd won and fights that my coaches thought I won. And whenever the coaches think you win, then I think you've done what you've got to do. I won't go my way. And with all the discipline that I have, because I'm seriously one of the most disciplined, dedicated fighters you'd ever meet, I just thought I can apply this discipline and dedication to anything else in life and be successful. So I left boxing again. I think I might have been 24, maybe 25 at the time. Trying to find my way. I went and did a lot of charity work abroad. I did a lot of travelling, backpacking and stuff. Came back from that. I wanted to move abroad actually, but I thought it would be a good idea to buy a house first before doing that. So I got myself an office job because I'm an accounting graduate from university. That helps me get a house and stuff. But then things just happened naturally from there on. I was just still keeping fit, using boxing as my tool to stay fit. And I had a chance to box a guy who was ranked number 4 in England on 5 days' notice. I got told when I was sipping cider, but I still turned up and won.
At least you're only sipping it.
Yeah, at least I was sipping it. Yeah, not gulping it down. Yeah. But then, and then a couple of months later, this is late 2015, he was meant to be fighting for the English title and his opponent pulled out, so he requested a rematch with me on 2 weeks' notice this time. Again, I reluctantly took it, but I only took it because it was to fight the York Hall for English title, 2 things I never had. So I went for it and I won again. Then Nigeria, who I was in a team for the 2012 Olympics.
Oh, you got injured, didn't you?
Yeah, I got injured, rib injury. They asked me to come and trial for the 2016 team. So I went out there to do it because you don't turn down an Olympic opportunity. And in the process, I fell back in love with the sport. So early 2016 actually is when I properly fell back in love with boxing and got back into it. So ever since then, I've been dedicated. I went to 2 Olympic qualifiers, one with Nigeria, one independently. We had to take unpaid leave from work. I had to go out there on my own and seek for GB coaches to be in my corner. Different occasions, same script. The fight that I lost in that, I had GB coaches in my corner telling me I was doing well in between rounds, and then at the end of it, apparently the other guy won every round. So it is what it is. So I just kept my head down, keep grafting, and all these things, all these experiences I've had, I'm taking them as building blocks. So these challenges are being thrown at me to help prepare me for what's to come, so that when I'm achieving the things that I believe I will do, I would have the right character and the right characteristics to cope with them as best as I possibly could, but also I'd appreciate them so much more because I know what it could be to have them go the other way.